building a better Bay Area for a safe and secure future. This is ABC7 News.
Hi there, I'm Kristen Z. Welcome to our daily special called Getting Answers. We're asking experts your question every day at 3 to get answers for you in real time. We're talking right now about reopening hair salons and barber shops. Also coming up, an exclusive on state leaders calling for action to bring back the nail salon industry, a call out to Governor Newsom. But let's begin right now with the state's plan to reopen hair salons and barber shops, just announced yesterday. And now that the state has given the green light, counties have to give the okay before anything can happen. So Northern California counties like Sacramento are allowing hair salons and barbershops to reopen today. More locally, though, Sonoma County says they have seen a surge in cases in the past week, so they are not quite ready. We have not heard back from Napa or Solano health officials yet. Now, those 3 counties tend to be a little earlier than the others, so no hair salons yet. But joining me now to talk about the impact of these guidelines is stylist Megan Shore and also the owner of Indulgence Day Spa in Sonoma County, Erica Wynn. You two have completely different stories. We welcome you today coming on to share your stories. Thanks, ladies.
Hi, thank you.
Yeah, okay, I want to start with you, Megan, because hair salons have now been given the green light as long as the counties allow it. You read the guidelines that were announced yesterday by the governor. Those guidelines contain lots of things that you would need to meet as a hairstylist in order to start doing business again. Tell us about what that means for you. I know you rent a spot normally at a salon in San Francisco. Talk about how that works.
Yeah, so I rent at a spot in San Francisco, Dreamers and Make Believers. And basically the reason I'm deciding to not go back is because the costs for the new restrictions is just going to be too much.
Like
and
what? What's going to cost you too much money?
So the PPE is a huge expense. Disposable drapes or enough drapes to last a whole day. Most of all, you are not able to double book clients. So I'm an independent contractor and I only work certain days a week because I live out of town. And not being able to do multiple clients at once is going to be a huge cost that I don't know if I'm going to be able to make up any other way. And also there's like a 15-minute period that you have to have in between clients where you have to sanitize and make sure everything is clean, which is great and it needs to be done, but unfortunately it does cut back more time that you have with another client. And like the rent for my space is gonna stay the same, but I'm not gonna be able to be making as much money on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. So it just really doesn't make sense. I am actually doing another career path, so I have another option, and that's why I'm choosing not to do it. But it would be a very difficult decision to go back, even if I wasn't.
So you live in Sacramento, but you drove down to San Francisco for work. I mean, would it make sense financially to keep cutting hair in Sacramento? Would the cost be lower for you there?
I don't believe so. It would be the same situation. So it's the same thing here in Sacramento. You know, you cannot do more than one client at one time. You have to wear masks. Mm-hmm. You, all of the same disposable drapery and all of that.
So I have a couple questions from viewers. Reagan Shigoyoshi wants to know, why can't you just raise your prices?
That's a great question. But in order to make up the cost, that would be a very large increase, and I just don't want to do that to my clients.
Got it. And Michael Martinez wants to know, how does she do multiple clients at once? I've had my hair done, so I assume you mean you have somebody, you know, coloring, the processing is going on while you cut somebody else's hair, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And most independent contractors that make any money in this industry have multiple clients at one time. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be a huge cost. Mm-hmm.
That is interesting. So even though your industry has been given the go-ahead pending county approval, you really don't see a realistic financial path for you, Megan. I want to bring in Erica Wynn now because her industry, the nail salon industry, has not been allowed to even come back yet. So Erica, I know you guys have been waiting, but while waiting, I understand you've actually put money into it. to make improvements, like physical improvements to the salon, so that when you do get to open again, it will be a more sanitized environment. Can you walk us around and show us what you've done?
Yes.
I understand you have a helper as well, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So a couple of things that we've implemented into the salon is these protective shields at the receptionist desk and along the nail stations and the pedicure stations. And we also have hand sanitizer, surface cleaner, and masks for clients for them to wear when they come in if they are not already wearing a mask.
Are you ready for the event?
Okay,
yeah,
so
and
you do require.
Houston, this is a space station. Ready for?
Oh, wait, are you guys hearing SpaceX? That is very exciting. We're also keeping an eye on the other big story, of course. But yeah, so show me. So when people walk in, right, they will be asked to put on a mask, right? Sanitize their hands. And then tell us how, we see a lot of chairs. They're kind of close together. Are you going to keep them that close together? Is that 6 feet apart?
So we are planning to alternate the seating so that there will be one client in one seat and then skipped and then another in another seat. So we'll be actually about 10 feet apart rather than, and then since the salon is pretty large, there's also 6 feet between the pedicure chairs and the nail tech chairs.
Can you, what is that I'm seeing with the framework? Is that a glass partition? Can you tap on that? Is that glass or is that plastic? What is that?
It's plastic.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So the manicurists and the customers' faces would be separated by that at all times, basically.
Yeah, in addition to both the clients and technicians wearing masks on their face.
Okay. What's on the other side? Is that for hair? Not the chairs for the manicures, but is that, oh, that's for the foot, right? Foot manicures. And same idea there. Can you show us what you got there?
Yeah, so it's the same thing. This plastic screen between the client and the nail tech, and they have chairs that they'll be able to swing so that there's more space between the client and the technician.
How will you ensure social distancing while waiting, though? Because that's always a challenge, whether it's restaurants or doctor's office.
We are planning to increase the time of the appointments for clients so that we have time in between individuals that are in the store, and also time to clean up all of the surfaces and anything that was used or touched by the client when they were in here.
All right. Michael wants to say, wow, they look prepared. Great job. But somebody else wants to know, those chairs are not 6 feet apart, but you had told us already, right, that you were going to occupy every other seat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For as long as it needs to be that way for the duration?
Yeah.
Can I ask you, though, can you guys make money doing it that way, essentially cutting the capacity in half or less?
Yeah. We are unsure about that right now, but we are trying our best to think of a way that would be most profitable for us, but also make sure that everybody is able to stay safe.
Okay, Juan wants to know, will they use disposable equipment at the nail salon? Most use the same equipment for many, many customers.
Yeah, we already dispose of all of our equipment before any of the new restrictions or anything, and also plan to sanitize anything.
Okay, so let me just ask you, though, do you feel as though your industry is ready and should be allowed to reopen?
Yeah, we do feel pretty prepared about all of the guidelines and procedures that we have put in place, especially since we've followed the state board's rules and gone above and beyond that by adding the protective shields and making sure that we're even farther from 6 feet apart.
Okay. Lockhand wants to know, how many customers can you take at a time?
We are planning to take 5 customers at a time.
Okay. And Robert wants to know, does that mean you'll do extended hours since you have to, only take half the people?
No, we're not planning on that right now.
Okay. All right, but you guys say you're ready to go, just waiting for the green light. But in the meantime, I got to go, but how much money would you say you spent to make these upgrades?
About $5,000.
Wow, okay. Well, I hope that investment pays off for you, both in terms of safety, health, and also customer business. So take good care of yourselves. Thank you. Thank you, Erica. This is Indulgence Salon in Sonoma, right? Sonoma County.
Thank you. Thank you, Christine.
And Megan, thank you. Good luck to you, too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, stick around, ladies. We can chat more on the offline, but we're taking a break on the air due to the conversation continuing on our live streams, but setting up the next interview here on air. So up next, we'll have Assemblyman David Chiu from San Francisco. He's announcing action right now, breaking news right here with us, that he's taking to bring nail salons back to California. We'll be right back.
We are in commercial break.
All right, ladies, we got to go, but thank you so very much. It was a pleasure talking to you both. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christine and Julie.
Okay, so then we'll have no Bart. Okay.
You're unmuted.
Okay, let me see if I can print out the letters. Hey, could you do me a favor, Dave?
Yes?
Can you grab something off the printer for me?
Absolutely.
Thank you. And when you get a chance later, can you fix the printer upstairs in the newsroom at, near the food table? It's like, I haven't been able to use it.
I'm sorry, there's multiple people talking to me at the time.
Just, okay, thank you. Can you grab that off the printer? Thank you. Hi, David.
Hey, just want to make sure you can hear me.
I can, but I'm having difficulty printing this letter. Pourquoi? Oh, here we go. There's one more. One more. Thank you. All right, did you hear the nail salon owner?
No, I didn't. I actually was in the back room, so I wasn't able to hear anything.
Yeah, they put these plastic partitions in between like every single station. So customer on one side and service provider on the other side.
Gotcha.
They spent about $5,000 doing that, like at every workstation. So hopefully that's good to go.
20 seconds.
Okay. You got that one?
15.
Of course.
We are back in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
As nail salons wait for guidelines to reopen, some lawmakers are getting involved, urging the governor to take quicker action. Joining us now is Assemblymember David Chiu of San Francisco with a letter that you're sending to the governor that's literally hot off the presses. David, good of you to join us.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So you're sending this letter as chair of the California Asian Pacific Islander Legislative Caucus. Why are Asian American lawmakers getting involved in this process?
Well, our immigrant businesses are the backbone of our economy, and we all know how hard they've been hit by COVID-19. Nail salons are an incredibly important segment of our immigrant businesses. They have a very significant Asian immigrant women workforce. Nearly 70% are of Vietnamese American descent. And the recent disclosure that a nail salon might have been the first site of community spread, as you understand, has created enormous concerns by these immigrant businesses of the impact on their businesses, as well as in this context of anti-Asian hate. There are a lot of concerns that this will further exacerbate it. So we've asked the governor to engage with us and the nail salon industry so that this industry is not singled out and that we have clear guidance as soon as possible on how we can reopen them.
I know he's been trying to engage either through himself personally or with his top senior staff with the various industries today. You know, it was film and the gym industry. Has he sat down or have his top officials sat down with the nail salon industry?
So the letter you have was a letter that we had sent about a week ago to the governor. Our legislators, we actually had a chance to sit down with the governor last week. He committed to us that he and his administration would be engaging with us and nail salon leaders, and we are expecting in the very near future.
Okay. Now, do you feel like the pace of reopening and coming up with guidelines for this particular industry, how does that compare to, I guess, comparable industries, right? Do you feel like it has been fair or perhaps, you know, a little delayed due to some unknown reason?
Well, I think everyone's anxious to get these nail salons open as quickly as possible. And I very much appreciate that the governor and his administration, they have a million things on their plate. They're trying to move forward. I think we all want to see a resolution on this as soon as possible. This is why we've asked for a working group so that we can figure out clear guidance that is in language with technical assistance to help nail salons open safely.
What are some of the proposals that you have made?
Well, our state, we have enacted in recent years some of the strongest policies in the country around health and safety in nail salons. In fact, the laws that we've established in our state have become models for other states, have actually even become models for national legislation to make sure that some of the toxic fumes in nail polishes aren't unduly inhaled by either workers or customers. So we've put these protections in place, and we believe that a lot of them could also apply in this context when it comes to COVID-19 and the dangers that could mean to customers and workers. These are issues that the industry has grappled with in recent years. They're models they've put together, and we feel very confident that we can put measures in place that will be able to ensure safety for everyone.
Can you put an estimated date on when you think the guidelines will be released with regard to nail salons?
Listen, if it's up to us, it would have already happened. But I know that the administration is working hard and quickly on all fronts, but including this front to do that. So I'm hopeful that hopefully we'll have some good news soon.
Well, do you have any more detail with regard to what he said, 4 weeks ago about the first known community spread case being possibly a nail salon in Solano County? Because, that was kind of said almost not off the cuff, but, not as part of his regular presentation, but in answering a question afterwards. And then there wasn't too much follow-up or details on that. But you guys, since you're working with the nail salon industry and you meet with the governor, are you privy to any more information about that?
The governor said that obviously there are privacy concerns about specifics on whatever incident this was. So we don't have any more information beyond that. But what we asked the governor to consider is obviously that statement alone has had a real impact in perception. And during this time period, perception is so critical to ensuring that we are reopening safely. And it's also important at a time when there have literally been several thousand hate incidents against Asians in California and around our country, that we not have incidents or examples like this be more fuel to what has been a very difficult situation for many in the Asian American community.
All right, Assemblyman Chiu, I didn't know until I read your letter that 70% are of Vietnamese descent, the women who work in this workforce in the nail salon industry, making an average income of $22,000 a year.
And almost over 400,000 workers in this industry, over 11,000 nail salons. It's a very significant portion of our immigrant small businesses.
All right, well, thanks for giving attention to this particular sector of our economy and that group of workers, and thank you for spending your time with us today. Appreciate it.
Sure. Appreciate you covering the story.
All right, we're going to take a short break on the air. When we come back, a yoga instructor who sat down with Governor Gavin Newsom just this morning to talk about reopening the fitness industries. Yeah, gyms. So we'll find out what they accomplished.
We are in commercial break.
All right, David, thank you so much.
Of course, hopefully that was okay.
That was great. Great talking with you.
Zooms are always hard. Looking at this green dot, I don't know how you do it every day.
I know. Well, actually, I feel like it's easier looking to a camera than it is to look into the laptop camera, right? Because your tendency is to look below it, right?
Yeah,
at the
totally.
image. Yeah. Good job. Yeah. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Cheers.
All right, Facebook friends, thanks for joining today. Let's check out some of the comments that we have. Tammy, you said you don't think nail salons should reopen. Joni, you think it's a little too soon. And Regan, you were saying manicurists are performing borderline medical practices and not being compensated for them. As Gavin said, it's an entry-level job out of poverty. They need to be valued as professionals that they are. Yeah, lots of different opinions. And of course, they all carry weight and all valid. The difficult thing as a legislator, right, or a governor is you have to balance all those competing yet equally valid viewpoints and considerations and decide what is the best way forward in this particular moment. Not easy. All right, our next guest is going to be someone who is a fitness instructor, yoga instructor. Jocelyn Ramirez is on deck with us. Hey, Jocelyn, she's checking in now.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can. Hey, are you in your home studio? Where are you?
Right now, I'm currently home. I teach class
city?
tomorrow at 10 a.m. I'm in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, okay. But you were part of the conversation about the reopening of gyms, right, in fitness industry. So,
15.
Oh, we're coming back on air in 15, so we'll talk all about it.
Okay.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome back. We're going to talk about yet another industry now. Governor Gavin Newsom had a roundtable discussion to talk about reopening the fitness industry this morning. So joining us now, she was on that call, is yoga instructor and founder of Todo Verde, Jocelyn Ramirez, with part of that conversation. And Jocelyn joins us live from Southern California, right? LA?
That's right. I'm here in East Los Angeles.
You look very relaxed. You must have done some yoga today. Thanks for checking in. I want to see what Governor Gavin Newsom told you guys, and what did you guys tell him with regard to safety changes and guidelines to reopening your industry?
Yeah, I mean, it was a really interesting conversation with several business owners and instructors in the fitness industry. And we mostly shared with the governor what our current situations are, whether our studios have closed, if we're going the virtual route, teaching outdoor classes and things like that. And he was mostly wanting to gather more information for his team as they continue to draft the new regulations that will be in effect for fitness locations.
Have you been teaching a lot virtually? I see some video of Zoom, but I know, have you been doing that?
Yes, so People's Yoga has transitioned to be a completely online-based yoga studio now. And the studio is no longer available to students to come in, but we are using it as a set, essentially. So instructors are going in and filming themselves for these Zoom classes and on-demand classes, and we'll soon also be teaching private lessons.
Talk about some of the ideas that were either presented or that you heard from others. You know, back in a gym setting, like people wonder about shared equipment, whether it's a treadmill or, you know, something like that, or chalk that people might share in a bucket, or how do you social distance when you're in the locker room or waiting to check in? What were some of the ideas?
I mean, some of the ideas were definitely spacing out some of the equipment. So having markers on the ground where people, you know, can, if you're on a piece of equipment, people know not to come in within that space, or having individual pieces of chalk that they would give people in Tupperware, where that's their individual piece of chalk that they don't share with others, or cleaning and wiping down pieces of equipment as it's used. So there were definitely a lot of ideas going around. Another one that came up specifically for the yoga studio was, could there be this joint use agreement between Parks and Recreation or schools that have green space where we could adequately space out people on yoga mats and amplify sound for the yoga instructor to be able to teach to a larger group in an outdoor setting that doesn't feel confined, especially in a place where People's Yoga, where we are a small grassroots yoga studio. And even if we are to reopen in a 1,000 square foot space, how many people can you realistically fit in there when you're social distancing? So there has to be some ways to kind of shift to be able to use the outdoors as well as this virtual platform that we've been using.
How much did you guys discuss the idea of everybody, whether it's the instructor or the students and, gym users wearing masks? Because you hear a lot of people talking about how wearing a mask is just not realistic when you're exercising hard, doing cardio and having to breathe. And what is your thought on that?
To be honest, at People's Yoga, we have had the discussion about masks, and we think that it's an important part of staying safe. We think that both instructors and students or clients should be wearing masks in a space. And we know that it's not the most comfortable situation, but we also think that it's very important to keep people in our community safe and healthy. And if that's what it takes, then we're willing to do that.
Was there any talk about taking people's temperatures? I mean, obviously, once they start exercising, those temperatures will go up. But, any thought about that?
That actually wasn't brought up, and I thought it was going to be brought up by some of his key staff and doctors on the call. But it kind of seemed like they were just kind of trying to learn a little bit more about our personal experiences rather than, getting into the nitty-gritty details of what that might entail in the future. But we as a small business have been, thinking about that same question. Are we going to take temperatures? Are we going to at some point start asking people whether they've been tested for COVID, or if a vaccine becomes available, will we be able to ask clients if they have taken the vaccine, and how does that affect HIPAA laws? So that's definitely a big question that didn't get addressed during this call, but we hope that it's a continuous conversation that will happen.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Jocelyn Ramirez, founder of Todo Verde in Los Angeles and yoga instructor, and on that call with Governor Newsom this morning to try to shape the guidelines for this industry when it reopens, whenever that is. You didn't get a sense, right? He didn't say anything like, hey, 2 weeks or anything like that?
It seems like it might be kind of close. Like maybe it could be within the next few weeks, but it will definitely be different for each space. I mean, some people on the call had as large a space as 10,000, and then People's Yoga is only 1,000 square feet. So
all right. Jocelyn, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Take good care.
Thank you. You too.
Oh, stick around, though, because I want to chat with you on Facebook for a second. We're taking a break on air, but the conversation continues on our live stream platforms.
We're in commercial break.
All right, Jocelyn, thanks for hanging out for one more minute. And that's one thing I want to ask you before we go back on air is, do you think some instructors won't ever go back to a gym setting? Number one, because they feel safer teaching from home or alone. And number two, is it possible that you're just making more money because you can accept, let's say, 100 students on a Zoom class as opposed to, the physical constraints of a gym studio being like 30, 20 people?
Yeah, I mean, those are definitely good questions. I think that right now, people are kind of waiting to see how this wave rides out. I haven't heard too many people say, I'm definitely never going to teach a class in person again. For me personally, I really do love the element of being in a community like People's Yoga in person. But I also do understand the implications of being in person right now. So, I think that there's valid points to each side of the, of the spectrum. But as of right now, I know for sure that owners of People's Yoga, even if, a week or two from now, the governor allows us to open, they will not, because it's just not safe enough yet.
All right, Jocelyn, I appreciate your time. Stay healthy. If anybody will, it's going to be you because you do yoga. I swear I'm going to get started one of these days in yoga for the body and the mind, right?
Join us on a Zoom class, peoplesyoga.org.
All right, sounds good. Take care.
You too. Thank you.
All right, folks, we are coming back on air in just a little bit. Today's conversation was 3-in-1, if you will. We tackled hair salons reopening, nail salons, the future, guidelines, and also, modifications some have already made, such as indulgent spa in Sonoma County. And then, of course, Assemblymember Chiu was good enough to share with us first his letter that's being sent to Governor Newsom to say, hey, let's sit down and work together and get this industry open as soon as possible, one that is heavily immigrant women, making $22,000 a year. So got to figure out a safe way for them.
3, 2.
All right, welcome back. Thanks again for joining us today on this interactive show, Getting Answers. Hopefully you got some insight of what salons will look like when they reopen. We also heard from San Francisco Assemblymember David Chiu rallying for nail salons, and we heard from someone who took part in Governor Newsom's roundtable on the fitness industry. She says she believes gyms could reopen very, very soon, as in a matter of weeks. So we'll have to wait and see. But we're here every day at 3 on air and on live stream answering your questions. So join us every day. Now, World News Tonight is next.
We're clear.
All right. Bye, Facebook friends. Take it easy. Thanks for joining.